Hello there and welcome to today's video. I'm clearly in a different place. I've been really struggling with traffic noise, and also one of our neighbours is having, I'm assuming, some renovation work doing. So yeah, I've taken you into another room today, and this video is going to be pretty much unedited. There may be some fade transitions here and there if I forget what I'm on about, which is fairly likely today because I'm pretty low on spoons. But I thought I'd talk you through what's been happening in respect of my gallbladder. So basically, I had my gallbladder out, I think 9 weeks ago now, and it's been a saga. And I should mention that if you're due to have a gallbladder removal operation at any point soon, I don't know if this might be the video for you because I've not had a great experience. But then it might be a good video for you because maybe you want to think about all eventualities as a result of your operation. So, I'm going to leave that entirely down to you. But I'm going to be speaking today from the perspective as get my words out, as an autistic person who has mast cell activation syndrome, because it does impact a bit onto my story. But I was originally scheduled to have my gallbladder removed last February, so that's February 2025, and I turned up to hospital at 7 a.m. and was fully prepared to have my gallbladder out. And I got into, the scrubs or whatever you call them, the hospital outfit. Sorry, there's a bus outside if you can hear that. And my operation was cancelled just as I was going to go into theatre, basically. And it was because they suddenly realised that I needed a high dependency unit bed because I've got MCAS and the complications that may bring about because of this condition. But what's frustrating is that they kind of knew about this. I had, I think, 2 pre-ops before this supposed operation, so I was really upfront about MCAS all the way through, only for them to decide on the day, actually, we don't know very much about this condition, so we need to reschedule. So needless to say, as an autistic person, this wasn't great. I went home on the bus feeling completely discombobulated, and it just resigned myself to waiting for the next dates. But of course I've waited over a year now, and it's been a really difficult process because my gallbladder pain has been getting increasingly bad. It's really difficult to talk about actually in terms of the pain scale, isn't it? As autistic people, many of us struggle with this concept anyway, but for me, I would have rated my average gallbladder pain as about, I don't know, a 2, because it was there all the time, it was consistent, and it was kind of like a nagging or dragging kind of sensation. So yeah, it was there all the time. So I really wanted to have this surgery in the hope that that would go away. So anyway, I received a phone call one Thursday, and they said, "Do you fancy coming in for some surgery on the following Tuesday?" So I didn't have very much notice at all, and it was further complicated by the fact that Ian and I were away at this time, and I had a conflicting date with another hospital appointment I had to go to. So there was loads of conversations and endless toing and froing of phone calls really. So I didn't actually know if I was going to have this surgery or not until Saturday. So it only gave me a few days notice, but needless to say, I had the surgery, and I turned up at 7 a.m. and I was told that my surgery wouldn't be until 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So it was a bit of a long wait, but I just kind of rested on the bed until it was finally time to go down for the op. I think because it was later in the day, this probably created more anxiety because I just like to get things done as a person. You know, I'd much rather have gone in first really and early to get it done. But because I had been given a high dependency unit bed, so I was going to be kept in overnight. I guess that was the reasoning behind it. You know, it was fine for me to have it later in the day because there were, you know, I was there all night anyway. Um, so yeah, I went down to surgery, and it was nerve-wracking actually, because I just have this kind of phobia about waking up during surgery. But they reassured me actually that they put these kind of nodes on your foreheads, and it's to look out for any kind of you know, brain activity during your operation. So that did help me somewhat, because I was really nervous about that aspect, even though I have had you know, general anaesthetic before. So I was out, and I remember coming to in the recovery room, and gosh, it was so difficult because I remember this young woman was bombarding me with questions, and I remember one question in particular was really bothered me. She said, "Did the person that brought you in today, do they have an iPad?" And I just thought this was the weirdest question to be asked. And I'd said to her, you know, "I'm autistic. Can you please stop asking me these questions, because I'm finding it really overwhelming." And I, you know, just burst into tears because it's really horrible coming round from surgery. And I forgot to tell you actually, when I came round from surgery, I had a laryngospasm, or a laryngospasm, however you pronounce it, which is basically part of my MCAS. So it means that my throat just seals over and I can't breathe. And I had told the medical team about this, so they were kind of semi prepared for this to happen. But it's just the most horrible feeling in the world to come round from general anaesthetic and to feel like you're choking. So I don't know, that was horrible. But at least you know, I felt reassured that I had medical people there with me should I get into real distress about this. But yeah, that was horrible. So I was in a severe pain after the operation, which I kind of expected, because I have had keyhole surgery before, and it was agony because they fill you with gas essentially, and it's really hard to get that gas out. And everybody has their own kind of pain tolerance, don't they? But for me, this particular pain is excruciating. So I had to be put on some really kind of heavy duty painkillers, and it was like a little machine I could self-administer, so that was really handy. I had it kind of overnight, but gosh, the pain was horrific. But thankfully, that, you know, the painkillers stopped it dead in its tracks really. So I was super thankful for that. And yeah, I just was yeah, just felt really out of sorts for the rest of the day, or the rest of the evening. Ian came to see me, which was lovely though. It was nice to have, you know, a safe person with me, but I couldn't eat anything. I did try, but I was sick. I was sick on the floor actually, which was embarrassing, but I just couldn't make it to the toilet. But yeah, I just felt really out of sorts, and I didn't sleep that night at all. I think, well, I say at all, I think maybe I had an hour or two, but it was well into the night. And it was during a heat wave as well, so it was super hot. So the following day, the doctor came to see me, and um, he spoke mainly about the laryngospasm that I had, because he was kind of concerned that I'm not under any NHS, sorry, any can't get my words out, NHS care for this at all, because the NHS don't really recognise MCAS unless you have anaphylaxis all the time. So yeah, he said that he was going to think about referring me to, I don't know, a rheumatologist or whatever, but I've not heard anything since. But because of this onus on talking about laryngospasm, I completely forgot to ask him about the operation itself. So I don't actually know too much about my gallbladder or stones. All I did know about my gallbladder, actually, and I should have mentioned this earlier, was I had multiple gallstones and polyps as well. So you know, long term, that could potentially be like a cancer risk with the polyps. So it was, yeah, considered a good idea for me to have it removed. But because of having MCAS, it's really difficult in terms of hospital stays because I can't eat normal food, and of course, it's really difficult to take food with you, or certainly any food that I could eat. So I was having kind of really random things, like in the morning I had gluten-free bread but without anything on it as toast, and the person that was dealing with breakfast found this just completely bizarre. She was like, "Don't you want to have any butter or spread or whatever?" But you know, I can't have anything like that. I think what else did I eat? Some mashed root vegetables that didn't have any, you know, additives like butter or whatever. So it was basically mashed vegetables, which tasted disgusting, but you know, that's all I could eat. And I think I tried some oven chips as well, which were basically just potato and rapeseed oil. So, you know, I was able to eat them, but it certainly wasn't nice food. And I was met with some completely odd looks as well. But one thing that I should mention actually, which was pretty good, is that I was sleeping in a ward that had capacity for 4 patients, but I slept in there, or rather didn't sleep in there, on my own for the whole night, which was really nice because I had a hospital stay last year, and there were, I think, maybe 4 women in the ward with me, so it was really difficult in terms of, you know, dealing with other people's noise, really, because I'm so used to sleeping in like a cocoon at home, basically. So after leaving hospital, it's been a real journey, I have to say. I've really struggled with food, and as somebody with MCAS, I struggle with food anyway. And I, yeah, I've had just a really low fat diet, and I've lost a little bit of weight, not too much, thankfully, but it's been really difficult. I've really struggled more than anything with kind of fatigue, and also whenever I eat anything, I have to kind of walk for about 2,000 steps afterwards because the food just sort of stays in my stomach really uncomfortably. So I have to physically move in order for my body to kind of digest it properly, and it's so difficult. And as I say, I've just felt utterly exhausted, and I think part of the reason is because I can't have coffee in the same way that I could before. I can only take an odd sip here and there, so I just feel like not myself at all. So I think dumping syndrome can be a real issue for people once they've had their gallbladder removed as well. I've only ever had one instance of this, so I don't even know if you'd call it dumping syndrome, but I can't eat any fruits usually because of MCAS. I can't deal with sugar at all, but when I came out of hospital, all that I could think of for whatever reason were blueberries, and we have frozen blueberries because Ian eats them, and I only ate 3 of them, and gosh, half an hour later I was, running to the loo because my body could not cope with them. But yeah, I'd be reluctant to try any sugar now whatsoever. So anyway, the reason why I'm making a video today is that basically I wanted to make this video as a tight little package, really, and I did want to upload this before now, but because I've had ongoing symptoms and a lot of pain still where my gallbladder was, which is really frustrating, it's meant that I've had to see the surgery team again. And it's really weird, actually. Here in the UK, you're not offered follow-up appointment with your surgeon at all, which seems ludicrous to me, because surely you need to be seen to be, make sure everything's okay. And as Ian reminded me, when Jean Paul was still around, our dog, if he'd have an op, he'd always have a follow-on appointment. So it seems ridiculous that we just don't have access to this in the UK, even to check your wounds, actually, which reminds me, I should say, I had 4 wounds, or 4 incisions, which have all healed up pretty well, thankfully. And yeah, you have kind of stitches that kind of are dissolvable, so they remove themselves. Maybe for me it was kind of 6 or 7 weeks after surgery, so that aspect's gone well. But for me, I'm really fed up that I've still got exactly the same pain as I did have, 2.5 months ago now. So I've seen my GP, and she put in a request for me to see my surgery team. So I saw a doctor, I think it was last Thursday, and the appointment was awful. Basically, she was really dismissive from the get-go, and whenever I see somebody like a new doctor or anybody really, I'm always super nice. As an autistic person who's relied on masking their entire life, it's always my go-to. I am a huge people pleaser, and certainly when I first meet somebody. So I just couldn't understand her hostility, really, but she was certainly really hostile with me. So it got to a point where, I don't know, I just thought, why am I being so nice to this woman when she's being the exact opposite of me? So I just stopped halfway through the appointment, and I just thought to myself, if she's being hostile with you, stop being so nice. Stop making or forcing yourself to make eye contact. And I just resorted to 1-word, 2-word answers, because it all started to go wrong when she was off with me from the beginning, but certainly it got worse when she said, you first started showing symptoms of gallstones when you were eating, a fatty diet. And I said, I don't eat a fatty diet. I haven't eaten a fatty diet for years and years because of MCAS. And she said, well, how did you first start knowing that you had symptoms then? And I said, well, it was chia seeds, actually. Whenever I ate them, I started getting pain. And she just went right into one. Well, chia seeds don't have any fat. You're thinking of fibre. And what frustrates me about this now is that I have a terrible memory. And I wish that I could have had some proper memory recall going on at that point, because actually the food that was causing me real issues was chia pudding, which was made out of chia seeds and coconut. It's not coconut milk. It's like a thicker version of coconut cream, is it? I can't quite remember. But basically it's kind of high fat. So I think the combination of chia seeds and the coconut cream caused me to have real issues. But anyway, I couldn't think in the moment because it was highly stressful. And I wish Ian had been with me in hindsight, but he has to work. I can't take him to appointments with me, or certainly not every appointment. And I didn't know this appointment was go south so quickly, but yeah, I just realised at that moment, just get through this appointment, and that's all you can do, really. She clearly, I don't know, is it double empathy problem, or are just some people more hostile than others? But it got to the point where I just started sort of crying, really, but I was really trying to keep it to myself. And she said, what's the matter? So I said, I'm autistic and I'm finding this really overwhelming, and I just can't deal with this. I just want this appointment to be over. And I've forgotten, actually, sorry, my head's all over the place at the moment. Before I started crying, she said to me, I don't think this pain is related to your gallbladder anyway. So I was like, you mean I've had this gallbladder out for nothing? Sorry, my camera turned off there. I'm just rambling on too much, evidently. But yeah, I just said to her, you know, I'm finding this really overwhelming. And she said, well, I need to organise an MRI and an endoscopy because I'm having issues with acid reflux, and I do take famotidine, which is a mast cell stabiliser, which does have an antacid element to it as well. So I'm taking my full dose at the moment, which is helping with that. But I just didn't have it in me to make any decisions at all. When I said that to her, you know, this is really overwhelming. I can't make any decisions today because I'm not going to remember what on earth I've said to you anyway, probably. And you know, I don't remember a lot of the appointment, but she said that she would organise the MRI anyway to basically try and see what's happening around my gallbladder area, or, you know, where my gallbladder was. And she said to maybe speak separately to my GP about the endoscopy. So, man, it was so difficult. And she said to go and sit outside of her office while she organised some you know, blood test paperwork as well. So I just sat outside crying with a fan on my face, which was gosh, it was just horrible, really. I just think some people just haven't got the soft skills needed to be able to deal with people. But anyway, I spoke to my GP yesterday, who thankfully is so nice. She's a junior doctor, but because probably she's not jaded by the profession yet, I don't know. She's always so nice to me, and I spoke to her about the endoscopy, and I think she's going to organise that separately. I think she needs to speak to her senior doctor first, though. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I've had my gallbladder out, and I'm at the stage now where I'm wondering why, because not a lot has changed really. And if anything, my pain has kind of got worse in some ways. And although I had to do a lot of walking after eating before, it was only ever early in the day, but I have to do it all the time now. So I'm basically just stomping around the house all the time, and it's really difficult to do, you know, anything really. And certainly my YouTube videos have been so much more difficult than usual to make. And my last two videos have only been about, you know, 10 or 12 minutes maybe, but it's taken me like a week to make a video, which is ridiculous really. You know, my videos do take a lot of time to make anyway, but the last few have just been ridiculous. But I don't want to stop doing it because, you know, I see YouTube as my job these days. Even, you know, with my you know, I've got a small community and my videos don't get very many views, but it gives me focus, and it's so lovely to connect with you all. So I'm not intending to give up YouTube anytime soon, you know, if at all really. You know, it's not my plan to give up YouTube. It's only if my health dictates otherwise at any point. But certainly for now, it's giving me the focus that I need. And you know, I am really lucky to have Ian because he's so supportive. But yeah, it's been a weird one. I still can't believe she's said that. You know, I don't think it was your gallbladder after all. After you've had an organ out, it's, even if she did mean that, I think perhaps she needed to find a different way to explain it, because it sounded ridiculous to me in the moment. But anyway, I think I've babbled on enough for today. I don't know if there's anything else that I needed to talk about. maybe I'll come back to this in a future video. As I say, I wanted this to be a really neat little video of the whole process of me having the operation, and you know, here I am now, all fixed, but it's clearly not going to be that kind of journey for me. But yeah, I'll update you as I go on, probably. Certainly for those that are interested anyway. So I'd love to know if any of you have had your gallbladder out, because it is a fairly common procedure these days. In the olden days, they'd take out your gallstones, but now they take out the whole organ, because I think it is more likely for you to grow gallstones again after surgery. But yeah, I'd love to know how you've gotten on with gallbladder surgery, or if you've made it this far and you are awaiting gallbladder surgery, what your symptoms have been like, you know, all of that stuff really. By all means, let me know down below. And yeah, that's going to where sorry, I can't, I'm having real issues with words today, and this is probably one of my more unmasked videos for sure. But yeah, yeah, maybe that's where I'll leave it. So thank you for watching anyway. Give it a like if you got this far. Comments would always be appreciated, because YouTube really values interaction on videos these days, which is frustrating because there's so many hoops to jump through with regard to YouTube. But anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.